Hey, welcome to the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are back with some more podcasting. Today is a feedback episode. That means this show is all about you, the listener, and what you wrote. If you wrote something, whether it's a review, whether it's a comment on our website, whether it's votes in the polls, whether it's emails, voicemails, we're gonna get to all of that stuff. The official weapon of the show is always
folding chair,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. Of course, you know how we always start. We gotta give props to the people that gave us the money. Okay, let's shout them out with the donation segment selection from the choir.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Today's a new day. That's right. New proppers, new copper. Oh wait, did that sound right? I don't know if that was right. Anyway, Adam S. recurring donation. Mariano. Recurring donator. Tyrone M, Dorothea S, Joe H, Jason F, Michael Irvin the Playmaker, Waste Bees Basura, Deborah O, Michael F, Mary H, Allison H, Stefan H. The H's all come through together as a family.
Rolling deep.
Corey B, Jeff M, Jonathan H, Mako H. Some of the H is getting here late. It's all right. Early Days of Photography. Marvin B. Yes, Marvin B. Michael W. J. Full and Nicole F. round out everybody this week. Thank you for all the generous donations. We appreciate all of y'all. That's why you get the shout out. All right, it's time to shout out the people that left us 5-star reviews.
Okay.
We got, I believe, 3 new ones.
Oh, let's go. 3 new ones.
Looking at this right, I think it's 3 new ones. If not, it's 2 new ones, and I'm reading one again. The first one is take all of the stars. This show is pure gold. It's from Miss Zero Chill. This show is pure gold. Don't know what's going on with politics. Rod and Karen to tell you. Have no clue who the latest celebrities are. That's okay, because neither does Karen. And Rod will explain it to all of us. Seriously, thank you.
See, you get me.
I never know who any of these people are. Don't know what the whites are up to. They got you. Want to test your knowledge on racial tendencies, names, actions, locations? How about a friendly game of Guess the Race? Not sure what book to read, show to watch, cozy game to play? Rod and Karen have some suggestions for you. This show has everything you didn't know you need. It's like listening to that friend or family members that actually stays up on current topics and wants to make sure you do too. No hot takes, just well thought out opinions, observations, predictions, and facts. Open your third eye, because Rod and Karen are hot and everyone's favorite play cousins.
Oh, that's sweet.
Thank you, Miss Zero Chill. That was a really nice review. You took the time on that one.
Yes. Thank you, baby.
Now, we don't ask that you take the time, okay? If y'all just want to leave like a 4-word review with 5 stars, we'll take that too, as long as it's nice.
We take emojis.
What a vibe. This is by Cherison159, or maybe C Harrison159. Rod and Karen are a whole vibe. I love them and want a full relationship advice show. They be amazing. I need that content. Heart emoji. All right, you like the 3rd or 4th person that's asked about that. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something behind the paywall one day. I have to think on it. I think of a way to make it kind of original, not like a copycat of so many other relationship advice shows.
Right, it would have to be really different.
So funny and on point. 5 stars. This is from Cheesy Mac, who says, greetings, Rod and Karen and Rod. Greetings, Karen and Rod.
Oh shit! Now I'm in front.
Your segment on job potlucks was so hilarious. I could totally relate. Many years ago, I'm talking decades, I worked in the financial industry, and the day after Thanksgiving sucked because the New York Stock Exchange was open and I had to always work the day after. My manager wanted to make it more tolerable by having us do a day after potluck. I would bring my own leftovers from home because I was the only one in my department that looked like us. Anyway, See, that's another thing. I didn't even bring up the cross racialness of the potluck. I didn't even want to get that whole can of worms.
Yeah, that's
started.
the whole thing all in itself.
Speaking of can of worms, you go in there, be a can of worms, and they be like, "This what my family ate back in, the old country." I'm like, nope. I got an old country, and it's called the Old Country Kitchen. That's where I go to.
Come on, Old Country Kitchen.
Anyway, in addition to my coworkers having suspicious, questionable hygiene habits, we had a coworker that was visibly affected by HIV. We told him to only bring packaged paper products or soda. Nevertheless, I never got sick because I was extremely selective by what I selected to eat from my coworkers. You're right, Rod. They sure police your plates. They really do be all on your plate. And I never thought about that. I mean, decades ago, the stigma around HIV and also the medicines that we did not have.
Right, it was very different.
I can't even imagine what that person was going through.
Right.
That's just another element of this, of just why we need to just get rid of the potluck. Like, it just invites more problems. Who knows what shit was said to that person
and how they were treated,
how people were acting, because it's already with stigmas and stereotypes around that in general. I remember when people didn't want to play with Magic Johnson because they thought shaking his hand or his sweat getting on you was going to give you HIV. Like,
right, just stupid shit.
Why are we inserting a potluck into this already fraught situation? I love everything about your show, and I look forward to Ride on Fridays with Karen Hunter. You both are terrific, and I love Karen's laughter and authenticity. Thank you for both putting in the work to deliver outstanding content and levity. Many blessings to you both, Deb. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Oh, man, that was nice. Well, you know what? Let's get into the comments on the website and YouTube. Next, our first episode of last week was episode 3,000. We made it to 3,000 last week. Look at
me. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
We made it.
What?
Look at us.
Look at us. Had no idea. You'd ask me, I'd have been like, well, Rod gonna go ahead and boot me off. I'll be doing something else with my time.
3,000 episodes of this bullshit.
Right? Y'all still listening?
Just making it up as we go along.
Ain't we making it up as we go along?
Sorry or congratulations.
Right? We don't know.
Just breaking every rule of podcasting.
Right.
Episodes long as hell, rambly.
Yes, we do multiple shows. And it's hilarious because every time when we used to go traveling more, we go to these like speaking conferences, and people in front of us have all these rules and regulations and shit like this. And then when it's our turn, we be like, we hear what they saying, but we ain't follow none of them rules. Everything they said, we did the fucking opposite.
We made it somehow.
Look at us. We made it.
The power of blackness.
All right.
Yep. Appia says, good explanation about the POC for Trump because they don't want to be victims. I got that from JL Covan. His podcast, Rain on Your Parade, is a great podcast.
It's a good podcast.
I listen to it every week, and
love JL.
He drops some gems on there sometimes, and when he's not dropping gems, he's at least trying to be funny and entertaining, and I value that in my comedy. I know a lot of people don't value that anymore.
Yeah.
But I still like humor, and I like to laugh at things.
Thoughtfulness too.
And so I listen to that, and I've been trying to crystallize in my mind what it is about these minority marginalized groups that fuck with Republicans, knowing that their policies absolutely are against them as a group. And I think JL just hit the nail on the head. They're reverse engineering victimization, and they're like, I can't be a victim if I'm supporting Trump. The rest of you are victims. All you black people who won't get off the plantation, you're victims. That kind of thing. I think they think when I'm in this corner, he will be in mine and see that I'm not like the other victims. It's like when poor people vote for parties who promise lower taxes, especially for higher incomes. Poor white people mostly here too. They don't want to accept that they are the ones who need the support paid by the taxes.
Don't they know?
They vote to make my taxes go down. I mean, thank you, but I'm good. Even the image of me as the queen of white women seems like a great photo opportunity. I'm so glad it didn't go this way. It seems dangerous. You know how some of us are. And also, I'm already very busy. Work, family, dogs, yoga, writing them good comments. The list goes on.
On and on, don't it?
Right, no good comments. Is this even something you can refuse? Seems also dangerous. Yeah, never accept the Queen of the White Women label. It's a trap.
Ain't it a trap?
Ronan Raphael says, yes, what an amazing start to the week. Congratulations on episode 3000. Congratulations to myself for 6 years of podcasting. So I finally get to say this to y'all. I love you 3000. Well, congrats to you on 6 years of podcasting as well, Ronan. Raphael. That's dope, brother. In Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, hasta la vista, baby. Or in English, I'll be back with a brand new multi-universal hustle. Since we're celebrating, I won't make Rod speak Arabic today. Am I not a nice guy? Also, I love my fellow the Black Guy Tips Nation 3000. Y'all get a holiday discount. Sorry, can't offer a military discount yet. To the next big event on the horizon, it's gonna be so great. Hurry, claim your offer before October 31st. 2 first-class tickets for two anywhere. Just say you're a guest of insert my government name. Which I don't think he's told everybody. So.
No, see a scammer to the end.
Matt Nashville writes in. He wrote in about his dad voting for Trump last week. And in short, about my dad, yes, he's all of it. To get long, please skip if you're not feeling about hearing about racist white people. Listen, Matt. Let me tell you something. I love to hear about racist white people.
We here for the story.
It's just what I'm into. Okay, if you looked at my Kindle book collection, you think I was just a stan of racist white people.
You do have a lot of them books.
Because I just be wanting to know the stories. They're not gonna skip my history. I'm not ashamed of their racism. Tell me more. Okay. The anti-government sentiment is what my dad likes to lead with. It's what he's convinced himself as a lifelong Republican who voted for Obama once is the reason he's all in for Trump. The full truth is he's always been comfortable with xenophobia, sexism, racism, etc. He raised me to be anti-government, never trust a politician. If you don't vote, you can't complain. I only retained the last lesson. He'll tell the anecdote of finally getting a raise while Trump was in office as the reason he's pro-Trump, as if somehow Trump personally told his boss to give him a raise, ignoring the fact that it says more about how greedy his bosses were because, they raised what they were charging for labor. But you see, Trump's a businessman. He's not a liar like the rest. And when you push, he deflects to, well, what good have the Democrats done? And no matter how long the list is, it's never good enough. My dad is easily swayed by the dog whistles and fear mongering, mostly, I presume, due to a lack of education and introspection. When I've challenged him indirectly on his transphobia, I thought I had made some headway, but when we discussed Trump, he was like, we're back to square one. So I'll keep working on him. He is my dad after all and was there for me more than his father was for him. He raised me to be better, and I'm working to raise my kids to be even better. Sorry for unloading this here. Dad never really came up in therapy, and mom and other shit were in the way. There's no need to apologize. I mean, we're having a dialogue. This is the feedback show. It's not like you're asking me to absolve you of white guilt or justify your dad. I can only be honest about what we discussed. And so last week I just had to be honest and to be fair. Some people would have taken the way I was talking and took it very personal and been like, fuck y'all show, I'm not listening anymore. This is really racism against white people. I'm not saying you, obviously you didn't, you wrote back in. But there are those types of people out there that do that. And you're not one of those people, so I appreciate that. Because you never really know until you have an exchange on the show, and then how people respond is when you find out like, oh, damn, they really were not here to take an exchange. And there's some, I think, genuinely well-meaning white people that just haven't dealt with the fact that black people are aggrieved, marginalized, all this stuff. And sometimes we're going to say shit that is true for us and it is inconvenient for the person hearing it.
Yes.
As a man, a straight man, this happens all the time when I listen to other shows. And I personally don't take it personal. If I disagree, I disagree. That's fine. I'm not telling somebody to have to agree with everything that comes out of our mouth, but it's never personal for me in that way. But I think it says a lot about a person if they can listen to somebody kind of unload and be like, nah, this is why. A great example is like 5-6 years ago at this point, there was a lot of podcasts talking about street harassment and women were giving their perspective on men catcalling and shit. And I know so many men that took it some type of fucking way. Like, well, how I'm supposed to so I can't get nobody's number, that kind of shit. And so I'm glad that this exchange didn't turn into that.
Yeah, and also from our perspective, because just how we are, and we say things, and we joke and go back and forth with our audience, particularly people on the feedback show. A lot of times you can tell how the relationship is going to go based on how they respond back, because the quote unquote conflict on the listeners end and how they respond would determine how the relationship moves from forward. Because like Roger said, we've had people where we've said things jokefully, and or we said things that we feel that are truthful that they might not like, and instead of them writing back and just more going into more detail so we can quote unquote have a conversation, a lot of people panic, want to shut shit down because it's not what they want to hear, and or they'll blame us for whatever insecurities that we might tap on and rises within them, and they'll either just stop communicating with us at all, which is fine because that's their right to, or the right end want confrontation with us, like we're just flat any wrong for everything we said.
Yeah, and yeah, that happens all the time, or not all the time, but it happens sometimes. And the one thing I've just decided for the show is I'm never gonna get on here and lie. I'm not gonna pander. I'm not gonna just say shit. This people want our opinions. I'm never trying to offend people, but
Right, that's not the purpose.
So I'm glad that it worked out, because it could have, I was taking a chance, could have been worse. Thanks again for the show and all that you do. I hope to come to a live show when we stabilize our lives. Sorry for getting deep and airing my family laundry in space. Don't apologize. Fucking white people. That's him saying that, not me. Appia says, I'm glad you did. She's replying to him. My father isn't as bad, but he can fall into the ones up there. Unclear what this means.
Not the ones up there. Who the ones?
Politicians or millionaires. A better explanation isn't given. Are stealing from us and lying to us hardworking people. And he has fear that other immigrants, we are also immigrants here, even if I married a German man who works for the German state, will take away everything that we have, or the Chinese, even without immigrating. What doesn't fit into his worldview is the Appia family is doing pretty great. He is happy, is also confused. How can it be? But he is helpful with the kids and extremely reliable, family oriented, so that's good. Yeah, and that's another thing, like, because I've seen, especially over the last 8 or so years, especially once social media really rose to prominence, there's been a lot of bombastic declarations of people telling folks like, but fuck your family, don't even talk to your family, then cut them off or whatever. And maybe that will work for some people. Okay, I'm not denying that. There's some people you need to cut off.
Yes.
There's some people that thrive after cutting people off. There's some people that never regret or feel bad about cutting people off or whatever. That there's no hole in your heart. There's no wound there for you. But there's a lot of people that can't / won't / are willing to work with people that are flawed.
Yes.
And so in those cases, that voice has become so silent in our conversation, where we're like, but I think it's the silent majority of people, and we're attaching a level of shame to something that I don't think needs to be shameful. I think most of us have an understanding of why, especially, it's like the people mad at Diddy's kids. I don't even understand.
Me either.
We all know what that is like, to have somebody that did something that it wasn't to you, and it's hard to believe, and it's hard to pull that vision together with how you've been treated. It does a head trip on you, and it may take time to work through that. It's not an immediate thing. We don't know these people. They're celebrities to us. They're not family members. They never burped us. They never fed us. They never bandaged our knees. We don't have any head trip confusion for the most part when it comes to something like this. We're just consuming these people like products. But I would say, even in those cases of just parasocial relationships, how many people can't reconcile when a podcaster they listen to does something fucked up, a celebrity whose social media they be on says something fucked up? How many of us still can't handle that? How many people did it take them a long time to cut off R. Kelly's music? How many people still listen to, Michael Jackson or something? I know some of y'all think he's innocent, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of people that don't, and yet you still play that music. How many people listen to James Brown? It's not as cut and dry as people like to say, but I think especially once you had the racial awakening after George Floyd and shit, you ended up with a lot of people acting like, you better cut them. Don't you go see your family at Thanksgiving. I don't actually care about that. What I care about is the stuff you do with, your vote. The shit you can't control. You can't control what the fuck your daddy do. And you cutting these people off isn't actually going to change their opinions. It's not going to change their opinions normally. It's actually not going to bring them to the table. And different people, there's different ways. So sometimes you get people to come around because you do hang around. And no one wants to talk about that. It's like that's gone away in our society. Like, no, we're all polarized, and you just believe what you believe until you die. No one ever grows or changes, and I refuse to believe that. So I can absolutely see why people are like, look, my dad's conservative and I don't really fuck with his politics, but he's not a bad dad to me. Like he's a good person to my kids or whatever. And we're talking about race, which makes it hard for people because they're thinking like, nah, fuck them racist white people, which is typically what I think as well. But take away race. A lot of y'all have conservative parents when it comes to gender ideology. A lot of y'all have conservative parents when it comes to religion. A lot of y'all have conservative parents when it comes to sexual orientation. A lot of y'all have conservative parents
misogyny
when it comes to like immigrants, misogyny, as you said, Karen. A lot of y'all have parents that don't align with your values on every point. They raised you and you figured it out and hopefully went beyond what they thought was capable. And sometimes it's up for the kids to bring them along. Sometimes that relationship it changes as you grow. And look, if you need to cut them off, cut them off. This is not me advocating for y'all to change your lives, but I'm just advocating for the fact that I understand when people are like, yeah, my pops, he say some eye-rolly shit every once in a while, but I still fuck with my pops. That's my pops. And I think that went away on the internet.
Yeah, and also I think that the internet, and once you realize this, you will view things differently and you have compassion, but you have a better understanding. A lot of people go on the internet and they do a lot of projecting of their anxiety. They do a lot of projecting of their hurt and their pain. So a lot of leave your family members alone. Something that's happened to them in their lives where either they wish they would have did it and didn't do it, or either they did it and they may regret it, or either they did it and they felt like because I did it and it worked for me, it should work for you. And the thing is, average person, like you said, does not function like that. Most imperfect people live around other imperfect people. You know what I'm saying? So you go through your life, trust, it's somebody you let down, you disappointed, you hurt it knowingly or unknowingly, you didn't live up to the expectation, or whatever the case may be. It's something that has happened that you did to somebody else. And sometimes I think people have a tendency to forget that they impact the world as much as the world impacts them. Everybody always look internally, but sometimes it's external shit that you do that you kind of overlook. And most people want compassion, empathy, sympathy, and understanding for all of their actions. They want to explain. They want to sit down to the table and talk and tell their side. But if somebody grieves you, you don't want none of that shit. You like, no, we ain't talking about shit. And the reason why I know, because I used to be that person. I don't want to hear shit. You have done something to me, and this is the end. And I had to learn, me personally, I had to learn how to have more compassion, and also had to learn how to not let others pick up other people's anxiety and let it become my reality, because those things are not the same.
I think it's interesting how you went to a place of someone doing an action, like someone did something to you, and you've done things to other people. Because I'm not even really talking about, I don't think the listeners talking about that. I'm not even talking about like an action. I'm just saying like a person has a certain attitudes and values that are, whether you consider them old school, conservative, whatever, that you would not operate your life by. And there's like this, I think on a on another level, there's this societal impulse that has been growing since social media came to prominence of cut everybody out of your life.
Yeah,
and not because they did a thing, but because they have either a belief system that is not perfectly aligned with yours, or because they have values that that don't align with yours. You should cut them off because it is immutable. They will never change. Being around them they will never grow. That kind of attitude is what I'm talking about. Less so of this person did a thing.
And I understand, but that in my mind that comes from somewhere. That doesn't that action for you to get to that point doesn't just happen out of the blue.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not about getting to that point. I'm saying people are advocating for you to do that, whether you've gotten to a point or not. It's like, don't go to Thanksgiving. I remember that. Don't go to Thanksgiving. It did, to tell someone to do that. Not the person's not coming to you and saying, my uncle did a horrible thing and I don't want to see them at Thanksgiving. People are saying, if your folks are Republican, don't go to Thanksgiving. If you're that kind of thing.
And I understand that. But what would cause a person to just out the blue tell you to do that? Like them, that person that's telling you to cut that person off, that stems from something.
Right. You're saying it stems from somebody doing something. I think it's cultural. I don't think that's my point. I don't think it's about somebody did something to me. I think it's about the fact that I'm telling you what to do. I'm not doing this in my own life necessarily. This might not be how I operate, but I'm telling you, person whose parents I don't know.
Agreed.
Person whose parents didn't raise me. Fuck your parents. Don't go see them. If you're miserable, if you're depressed, if you're crying, I don't care about that shit. If you see some light of hope in them where you might be able to like bring them together as a family and y'all grow and heal from these things, fuck that shit. Just be militantly against them and just stay online with me. That is the real truth and measure of you as a person. That's why I'm saying I think it's even worse. We're not waiting on people to do a thing. We're preemptively saying fuck those people.
And I agree. And I do agree with that. And maybe I should have phrased it differently, but I did not mean that. For some people, that statement I said is true, but for some people,
right? I never said you were wrong. I said it's interesting how you went to a place of someone doing a thing. That's all. Like, okay. The conversation wasn't about someone doing something to people. It was just, I got conservative parents, and sometimes they say some shit, and I don't agree with it. But I'm still trying to work this out. I'm still trying to figure this out. So it's not like some act necessarily that they did to the person. Like this, but in your mind, you went to an act. I think that says something about the tone and the tenor of this culture. Is that we are treating people like they did the act, right? We're treating people like if someone said, my parents slapped me in the face at Thanksgiving, that's an act that we go, I see why you wouldn't go back to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they're treating.
But if someone said, my dad is watching Fox News and I'm trying to show him you got to get off of this shit, there's a lot of people like, nah, fuck your dad, get away from him, get it, that's terrible, don't let him be around your kids, da da da. And I'm saying that's a reaction that comes from like a disattachment from that person and their real reality. Like, I don't have to deal with the consequences of your kids never knowing your grandparent or their grandparents. I don't have to deal with that. So I can just tell you, fuck them, and walk away. And I think it's very performative.
Okay. And I agree. And I do also agree and I feel like some people do that part on the internet. And I also agree that for those people, I think sometimes it's just social pressure, social media pressure. And that's what I say. That's the reasoning, the social media. But like for me, it's a reason why they're doing this. In my mind, this shit don't happen out of the blue.
Maybe I think it does happen out of the blue. I really do think that's what social pressure is. You need to act like this. Even if nothing's happened to you, this is the code of our social media performance. So
yes.
So people take on things that they don't truly believe,
right,
because it is the most popular sentiment at the time.
Agreed.
So all of us constantly overreacting or constantly going at people and being like, no, fuck that motherfucker.
Yes.
That is, you don't actually need to have had a thing happen anymore.
No.
That is the code of the streets.
I agree.
What is weird now is when someone says something like our listener just said, like Appy and Matt are dealing with, where it's like, yeah, my parents can be a bit conservative, or they can be eye-rolly, cringeworthy sometimes. I still love them.
Right.
I'm showing them that the things they believe are not necessarily true.
Right.
But they're in my life. They're
Yes.
not like these are. I'm not labeling them as just this piece of shit, irredeemable motherfucker.
You're right. Then I'm just throwing in the trash. Right.
And so that's what I'm saying is like that type of sentiment. It kind of died out on in our social discourse. That person stopped existing for a while because we started associating it with the worst of the worst, where like your daddy's calling people the N-word, and then you coming on Twitter and complaining about it, and we supposed to just act like, well, it is your daddy. You know what I'm saying?
And that part I 100% agree with. I think we're saying the same thing. I think you just caught up in the fact that I'm going, even the social pressure is a reason for me, and you're going, no, that's not a reason. And I'm going, yes, that is a reason in my mind. That's the reason.
Well, no, I'm not caught up on anything. You said it was like specific things people did. I'm clarifying. I don't think people have to do a specific thing anymore to have people tell you, fuck them, cut that person off.
And I agree. Yes. Now that part I agree.
Like, I think the idea of someone doing a thing is always a valid thing. Like if someone, if I take my, fuck, I'm not trying to be funny right now, guys. It's gonna sound funny because it's around this time of the year and everybody brings this shit up. But this isn't trying to be funny. But like what happened with Elon White, which is gonna come up. He's gonna probably have to get off of social media for a few weeks again.
Yeah, by that time of the year,
because it's Thanksgiving and these motherfuckers do this shit every year.
Yes, they do for years.
But like, I do understand people that felt like strongly like no, like they did a thing to you. You're her black fiance. You come to your white fiance's house, and the parents are making you sit outside, or they're being so rude that you're sitting outside. I forget the exact thing. Once again, I'm not joking. This is just an example.
But yeah.
But that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, of how big that got.
Yes.
It's been years.
Yes, it has.
I don't even know how long it's been. It's been years.
It's been years.
The social pressure of mocking him and being like, no, that is a real thing that is none of our real fucking business.
Nope.
They could have worked it out behind the scenes. Maybe she shouldn't have shared it because people aren't capable of handling it.
No, they are not.
That family could be happy and together, and everything could be fine right now.
Agreed.
But the point being, but we would always look at him like something's wrong with him for that. We'll always look at her like something's wrong with her for that. He shouldn't have married her. All this type of shit, right? Because we don't want that to exist anymore. This idea that maybe they grew, maybe they changed,
right?
Maybe, right?
People don't look for that. People only expect that in themselves. They don't expect that in other people. And whatever happens online is a time frozen. Is a moment frozen in time, and you are nothing beyond, above, or you will always be that thing. But that's not people. That's stupid. Because if somebody was to take your worst moment and say you are your worst moment for the rest of your life, you couldn't function. That doesn't make sense.
And so in that case, they did a thing. So I understand how people can get to like this anger. Like, I get why people get angry about that. A thing happened.
Yes.
Right. We have transferred that to your parents said an opinion you don't agree with. Fuck them. Get rid of them.
Right.
That is the part I'm discussing. And that's why I said it's interesting you went to someone did a thing, because I think that's what the internet has done to us is we are now treating everything as a thing. Like, you know,
okay,
like, like the treatment is as if you made my fiance sit outside, but it really might be that my dad doesn't understand the terminology for transgender people yet.
Right.
Put it on the internet, they want to dox your daddy and tell you stop talking to that motherfucker.
Agreed.
Right?
Yes, it's like the from that perspective, because the internet, everything's on 10.
Yeah.
And there aren't levels of infractions. And sometimes something might be a 1 or a 2, or you can work it out. And everybody act like you said, a simple infraction has to be the most extreme thing ever, because the internet, the machine has got to always be angry and put somebody or something in it.
The idea that a person with a good heart can make a mistake has died.
Agreed.
It's just died. And I refuse to live in that reality.
Same.
And so That's why if you right in here and you're like, my dad this, my mom that, whatever, I'm not doing the like, man, fuck them unless you tell me they did some egregious shit. It's got to be egregious. It can't just be this motherfucker believed in this or thought that. That being said, I stand by what I said last week. I think I'm just being more honest than a lot of people are about these things. I can throw your parents away because they not my parents.
Right. That's how the internet feels. They don't have to care.
I'm not giving you advice. I'm just telling you why I'm not going to go through all the like, hey, he says just about this and maybe that. I don't need to give him the benefit of the doubt. For my own self-protection, I got to go, motherfucker seem like a bad person to me, and good luck if you can figure that out. I can be wrong.
I hope you can.
I can be wrong.
Right.
I don't know them.
Agreed.
I did not see anything else other than what you wrote. So that's what I mean. I didn't even want to get caught up in this so long, but whatever. Pamela says, congratulations on the 3,000 episodes.
I like our conversation. People talk about we always agree on shit. Okay.
I wasn't disagreeing. You keep putting this out here like I said it was interesting. You took it to an act.
And
that's it.
I'm just
you was the one being like, no, what I'm saying is I didn't disagree with you. No, I know what you said.
Okay, because I wanted to be sure that I completely explained myself in a way that you could understand.
I understood it perfectly from the beginning. At no point was I saying you was wrong or misquoting you. I think it's interesting because I think that's a paradigm shift we've witnessed in our lifetime. It went from people have certain attitudes to they did a thing. That's it. That's all. And I don't think, most people would argue with you. If you say someone did something to me, yeah. Right. I mean, what the fuck? Who's doing, I shouldn't say most people. There's some people that will continue to argue with people where you're like, so-and-so sexually abused me. It's like, did you know that's your daddy? We're not that, obviously.
No, we're not.
And we're not advocating that. I'm actually kind of glad that it came up because someone projecting on our conversation would probably be writing in next week like, y'all said it's okay for people to smack your children and you just got to
deal with it. I did not say that.
We didn't say that. So don't project on us.
No, we did not say that. We just voicing our opinions.
Pamela M.A. says, congratulations on your 3,000 episode. I'll continue to listen as long as y'all want to do it. Pamela, thank you.
Thank you.
Sean says, Ryder Karen, 3K episodes. Congratulations, Appia. Good to have you around. Whenever someone tells me that they are thinking about Trump, I say, you mean the son of a Nazi? Which sometimes gets them thinking. I even had a student say that Elon supporting him must mean he's not all bad, to which I said, you mean the son of an apartheid land baron? It doesn't work every time, but I like to set the frame that these right-wing racist nut jobs are not people we should consider legitimate in any way. Neither of them fell far from their rotten racist trees, and they are both nuts. Yeah, that's an interesting tactic. I think the thing about attaching someone to their parents is interesting here because we do know there's a lot of people with fucked up parents that go on to be perfectly, great people to society that look at the example their parents set and say, I will not be that. But yeah, Trump and Elon Musk did not decide to do that shit, so fuck them.
They did not.
Michael says, it's such an honor to have my silly comment be the title of Queen Karen and King Rod's 3,000th episode. I haven't even been a frequent commenter, but I've been a big fan of the podcast for many years. I first heard Rob back on Twib and followed you on Twitter for a while before I finally got around to Googling and found out what the hashtag TBGWT meant. I kept seeing it in my feed. I've been hooked ever since. I saw you live at NegroCon. My husband and I were shy and didn't say hi, but we had the time of our lives. And I've been subscribing to Premium for years. Listeners, if you're not Premium, you're missing out. Much love to you both, Rod and Karen. Here's to the next 3,000. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate you, Michael. Yeah, that's funny too because I just talked about Twitter with Elon just now. That's such a coincidence. It's so random. But yeah, shout out to Twib, man. Twib really brought a lot of listeners to us. And I know we didn't get all the Twib listeners, but I never was after getting all the Twib listeners. Only the cool ones.
Only the cool ones.
So if you stayed over here, you're cool.
Shout out to you.
Don't go back and tell the other ones. They not cool. They won't know how to take it.
No, they will not.
Miss Barnes says, congratulations on 3,000 plus. I know there's so much more behind the paywall. Yeah. This is 3,000 for the regulars.
Yeah, this ain't including behind the paywall, child. I ain't even counted. It's a few thousand behind there too, probably.
It's a lot of episodes behind the paywall. I could go look it up right now, but it's
Okay, I know it's a lot.
yeah. I want to
And
say
that don't include the guest spots we do.
that's correct. That's correct. I want to say it's over 1,500 or so.
Nah, yeah, wouldn't be
like it might be
surprising.
close to 2,000 behind the paywall. I'm logging in to go check, but
Yeah.
But yeah, between Balls Deep pregame, Nerd Off, movie reviews, Lip Smacking Good. Then there's some episodes of shows that are defunct, like we stopped doing them.
Yeah, but you still have
another
access
light
to
skin
them.
moment.
I love that.
Real House Husbands.
That was fun.
Me and Justin's fake reality TV show.
Yes.
There's just a ton of them. Yeah, I'm looking now. Oh wow. There's actually 2,100 episodes behind the paywall. 2,105.
Good God.
We're the most prolific podcast. It's not close.
If you outwork us, goddamn.
Yeah, it's not close.
And like I said, that's not including, particularly over the years, and we've actually slowed down. But all the guest spots and stuff we've done, we've been
You
out
slowed
there.
down. You slowed down.
Oh, my
I
bad.
haven't slowed down.
I'm sorry.
I'm on MCU University every week.
sorry.
People, yeah, I be doing stuff.
I've slowed down. I will. Yes, I would agree. Yeah, I've slowed down. And a lot of times when people ask if you want me to be on, say you on Rod and Karen. We are two separate entities. Like a lot of times they say Rod and they mean Rod and Karen. Karen don't show up and they be like, where Karen? Because you ain't asked for her.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just depends. Karen doesn't put a lot. You don't put a lot of your stuff out there. You don't tweet a lot about stuff. You don't really interact with a lot of people about stuff, and so I think a lot of times they just assume you're not interested.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I think I was listening to some of these podcasts, and maybe I'd leave them a comment on Twitter or something, and every once in a while they reach out like, "Hey, you want to maybe review this thing with us or whatever?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not? It sounds like a good time." EV says, congratulations on 3,000 episodes. I'm not sure when I started listening, but I remember the days of groupie tales and hating ass Terrell Jones. This show kept me sane during the dump years and has pushed me to view things in a way that I never had before. I could do without the Arby slander, but other than that, this is a 5-star show because Ryan and Karen are hot. Shoe Booty says, chiming in to whisper slyly, I think Arby's is good too, EV. I don't know how many times I have to correct this with the audience, and I mostly blame this on EVE for spreading misinformation. My Arby's slander has never been that their food isn't good. My Arby's slander is simply that it is clearly some sort of money laundering front for a criminal organization. That's all.
And they don't want to tell nobody. They be buying other shit, and you be like, how can y'all afford to buy other shit? Nobody ever in the drive-through.
They give like 90-something% of their revenue to Republicans. If it was Chick-fil-A, y'all would be losing your motherfucking minds about it. So I can't ignore the truth for anybody. So I remember once I think I even wrote an Arby's rap that I made. But yeah, so if that's slander, fine. But I'm not slandering the food. Y'all should be happy that I'm not slandering the food. I'm letting y'all cook with the food, even though they don't really cook the food until you order it, because they're not really planning on selling much
They not
food,
prepared.
because that's not what it's about.
They're like, oh shit, we got to make food.
Yeah. So I forget where I put that Arby's rap, but
Isn't there somewhere?
it was a good time. But yeah, if I find it, I'll play it on the show at some point.
No problem.
But
Did you name it Arby's Rap?
I don't know. I'm looking at. Only thing I see is Arby's RDC World, which is a completely different
thing. Yes.
But yeah, it was. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to tell y'all the truth. And I'm a truth teller. So if that's what I got to do to get y'all to be honest with yourselves, then I guess that's just what I have to do.
You be the messenger.
Okay, some people are called. Okay, I have a calling. People know.
Many are called, few are chosen.
People come here. People come here for some real truth, and so yeah, I'll just have to be the one to deliver it to y'all. And I'm sorry that y'all can't accept the truth. Honestly, that's really what makes me sad is that y'all can't be like, you know what, man, I'm supporting a criminal organization that's up to something shady. I'm not, look, maybe it's not even that they drug dealing, maybe they not, but if I told you they was like the corporation from Angel, the TV show, Angel.
They over a Hellfire's den?
Yeah. Would any of us be shocked if it was like, oh, that's who been summoning the vampires?
That's what's wrong with the community. That's why people been going missing.
None of us would be shocked. So I just think a lot of y'all need to chill out. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't call the food nasty is the point.
They connected to the Black Heart Corporation. Shout out to the strain.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. Let's get to because I think Pusha T did a rap. And then I did a response to the Arby's rap or something like that. Anyway, let's get to the next episode. Next comment. Hustle No Flow says, congrats on 3,000 last week. I mentioned Charlamagne the God's ads here, and you were hoping that maybe the tide was turning with viral clips of him with Anderson Cooper and others. Sadly, I've maybe seen those things once. But I see his ads on network TV all day, every day, and doubly during sporting events. I mean, can somebody sell a pizza or something to use up these ad slots? I don't think his damage control outdid the damage, and I'm hoping he pays a price for that. And frankly, I hope it cools off all these other people rushing to bring him on their shows for political humor. I do think the tide is turning, but I think you're overstating what I said. I don't think he's turning the tide and undoing all the damage. I think you're extrapolating that out of something that I would not say. I don't think it's possible for him to change the damage he's doing to the political discourse. I think he's kind of a chaos agent, and this last 2-3 weeks where he's tried to like come back to the fold or whatever, I think that's very calculated. I think honestly, not to be too cynical, but I'm gonna be a little bit too cynical for some folks. I think a lot of these people are doing this because they think Kamala's gonna win, and they just don't want to be
on the wrong side,
on the losing side. Not even the wrong side. I mean the losing side.
Okay, I'm with you. Yes.
Sexy Red endorsed Kamala Harris last night.
Right.
Like, this is not this. They don't give a fuck about us. They're gonna be rich and famous either way. And right now there's way too much risk of being the pro-Trump person if Trump wins, because we're gonna be so angry if that happens, and there will be a cost paid not by him, that will other people that we feel help pave the way for him, especially within marginalized communities. There will be a backlash for those people that will be strong, and those people can't actually be supported by the Trump voters, because those Trump voters and those Trump people cannot align with those folks and their black audiences and black aesthetic. So a person like Sexy Red cannot be floated by Trump supporters. They're not going to come to her concerts. They don't want to see her music. They don't give a fuck about her.
Nope.
The Breakfast Club can't be floated by Trump supporters. They're not listening to Hot 97. They're not sharing the clips. They don't give a fuck about Gucci Mane or whoever is in the studio with them. Like, they only come through when there's some Trump shit, and to use them for pro-Trump right-wing shit. So I think there's a cynical move where you have to pivot just in case Trump don't win, or just in case he does win, and you end up being on the other side paying a cost that he wouldn't pay. So I think when I say turn the tide, I think he's trying to turn the tide for himself. You're probably a bad example of that because you don't fuck with him already. So how could he possibly turn the tide for him personally, where you would be like, you know what, cool, I appreciate you coming around. The reason I say that is because the thing you cite as evidence is the ads. He can't control those ads. He sent a cease and desist. Now, he could sue by the time he gets through court. The election will be over.
Yes, it will be.
So you're blaming him for something he literally has no control over at this moment. That tells you a lot. Like, he can't come back for you. And that's fine. I think that's a reasonable point of view, but let's just be honest with each other. Mature Young Lady says, why am I up here cheesing hard as fuck as soon as I heard about the live show? Will I be in VIP? You damn right. So if you see me on South Trine doing something strange, just wave, because I'm getting my coins together for the live show, which means I need the Blackout Tips shirt. I've already started making plans with Miss Barnes to hang out before and after. Oh, that's dope.
Oh, that's sweet. Yes, get your paraphernalia.
All right, let's look at the YouTube for comments over here. Let's see what they say. We got Sayida, congratulations on 3,000 episodes. JV City, congratulations on 3,000 plus podcasts. There are a lot more blue signs in the yards here in Florida. Prayers down for the orange cultists out Shala. Agreed. My mom says congratulations on 3,000 podcasts. Thank you, Mom. Solus says exactly, it's all about white supremacy. What did Harrison Biden do about white supremacists infiltrate the police and military? Poor report by FBI Homeland Security 2020. White supremacy is the most lethal threat to America per FBI Homeland Security. Again, what has Biden and Harris done? What
Who
Black
wrote that?
men died 10 years before all Americans. What has Harris done? Oh, I'm sorry.
Who wrote that? AI?
Hide user from channel. Sorry, we don't do Republican trolls over here. And you're not going to get me to respond to that because those are lies and out of context misstatements at best. Merrick Garland been arresting people since January 6th.
And he's still
every day.
And he's still getting them.
White nationalists and white terrorists getting locked up every day in America right now, and it wouldn't be happening under Trump. Let's just be honest.
We're not.
I also love how their alternative is like, and Trump's going to stop the white terrorists. He one of them. Calls coming from inside the Klan hood. Poe, have you thought about it? Yes or no? Because the title of the episode was Think About It.
Yes.
68% of people have thought about it. 32% of people have not thought about it. Damn.
I thought about it.
Y'all really just gonna tell us y'all not thinking about it? You could have lied. I appreciate your honesty though. I appreciate y'all being real about it. All right, let's get to another episode, but first it's about time to get some commercials. All right, episode 3001, Judgment Falling Off the Bone. We got 8 comments. Let's get into it. Appia says, I don't know where Barbie is living nowadays, but maybe she moved to Europe and needs Black Friendship Project like I do.
She might have.
Well, she didn't call it Black Friendship Project. She just called it Project Friendship. I suggest she start listening to Blackout Tips as an entrance and give Karen and Rod some of that Barbie money as a premium subscriber.
I'll take that Barbie money. Malibu Barbie, come on down.
Sean says, in my head, there are 2 sound effects that I hear that you don't play. One is a gunshot followed by a clangy triple ricochet ending in a grunt from the sword fight sound effect whenever anyone catches a stray. The other is the reverberating thud of a boot hitting the hardwood floor whenever someone stomps on a joke. I heard that thud so hard this episode. Rest in peace, Barbie's friendship and the projects joke. You had such a bright future, but your time was cut short. It'd be happening. Michael says, Rod, you cracked me up when you said to Karen, behind all those sweeties and babies, you're just a furnace of rage. I'm here for Karen's outrage segment. I can hear the theme music now. Outrage, rant to me. Himdale says, I agree. Hilarious, and it made me think of Bruce Banner when he generally says, I'm always angry. I
try not to be. I'm glad I do.
Karen is always outraged, and baby sweetie, I'm here for it. It happens to us all, Karen. Everyone plays that outrage somewhere. Mine is at the post office when people carrying on whole ass conversations with the postal worker instead of buying your stamps, paying for postage, and moving the hell on. Rod, you're an awesome straight man, and Karen makes you even funnier or more of the straight man when she busts through your joke walls like the Kool-Aid. Oh man, chef's kiss. I do it for y'all.
Yeah, he do.
Sean says, if they had used rock sugar with the Marion Berry knots and done it as a promotion free side, maybe, but as per your survey, they don't look that good. Yeah, I just really feel like they needed a writer in the room. They missed a lot.
Writers make a big difference.
If you're gonna do, and look, it's a
I'm gonna punch it up.
It's a it's a restaurant, so I know they wouldn't have a writer on staff, but just looking at it, I'm like, either you go with something that looks like crack rocks, or you just leave Marion Barry the fuck out of it. Yeah, I would have left him out just because of the location. But if you're gonna be offensive with it, go all the way.
Don't half-ass it.
Yeah, go all the way. I would have. I'm sorry, people listening, okay? But just understand, some of these are jokes. But if I'm doing the Marion Barry knots, first of all, we're smoking them in a pipe. That's just number one. There's no motherfucking way. Like, it was crack. It wasn't cocaine.
If you're gonna do it expeditiously. Jump.
Right. And if we're doing a viral video, I'm having everybody put a garlic knot in a spoon, and then maybe put a lighter underneath it. Now that's technically like heroin, but you get the same like thing. I'm dressing people up to look crack-ish, because the whole real point they're trying to say is these are like crack. So I'm dressing people up like Pookie from fucking, New Jack City, and I'm gonna have people looking like the cheeseburger dude from Menace. Like, if you're gonna do it, go all the way with it. If not, then you shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't do it. I agree. Yeah, because that was a terrible idea. You shouldn't do it then.
Yeah, and I'm sure when I laid all these ideas out to them, they'd be like, "This sounds like something we shouldn't do," and I'd be like, "Exactly."
Right, so don't do it at all.
Call them Scarface knots or some shit. Call them Tony Montanas or something, and hope you don't get sued, because that's crazy what y'all did.
Right.
CP Shelter says, I was about to leave a comment telling you to put the clip out, to clip out that judgment falling off the bone bit for social media, but seeing as you made it the title of the episode, I'm guessing you're on it. As Rod would say, that's a bar. Yeah, I just submitted everything yesterday for like the last 4 episodes of social media clips, and there's a lot of them. So we'll see what makes the cut and not, because we don't really choose the final thing, and I think they put out stuff. It takes them a while to like put it out. They have like a schedule they want to do things on. But those clips have been doing pretty well. People have been watching them. We've been getting some comments. I've been trying to direct people to come listen to the podcast whenever they see those out there. And thank you to everyone who likes them and shares them and comments on specifically Instagram. A lot of y'all are doing it on Instagram. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who does it on Twitter as well. So we appreciate y'all. And it helps our show, and it helps the Inflection Network, the Inflection Point, because they're monitoring those things as well. And that shows that their hard work is benefiting the podcast. Personally, I think coons like Candace Owens, Mark Robinson, Shelley Winter, etc. should be excluded for the fucking with black people segment. Well, that's why you ain't in charge. They are often the ones. They're often the ones doing it to us rather than being fucked with. I'd always give them a 0 and play the clip of the woman saying, "Think I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch? I don't." How about a new separate segment just for them? You could call it Coon in the Game. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the ideas, but the reason that I like putting them in fucking with black people is specifically for the point of being like, no, I'm not fucked with when Candace Owens has something bad happen to her. That's important, because what those people, and I hate to take y'all behind the inner workings of the podcast, but what those grifters do a lot of times is when something happens to them, that's when they claim blackness. So Candace Owens, it wouldn't be surprising. I don't keep up with her like that. Wouldn't be surprised if Candace Owens popped up somewhere and being like, Australia banned me because I'm black.
Yes.
If I was a white guy going there spreading this anti-Semitism, they would have let me in the country. And so I'm going to always throw them in fucking with black people. The other part is, and I think this is the part that can't be denied if you're honest with yourself, they always are fucking with us.
Yes, they are.
Just seeing Jason Whitlock's name makes me 100. Jacars. It don't really matter what he's doing. They be like, Jason Whitlock got a haircut today. I'm like, Jacars. So I would be lying to the audience if I took them out of fucking with black people. They 100 fuck with me all the time. So no, they stay in. They make the segment interesting. It can't. And also the other part of this, and this is once again taking you into the mind of the person that does the show and creates it. Fucking with black people can't only be a nigga got shot by the cops.
I knew.
Because at that point, it's so depressing, there's no reason to do it. So we have to sprinkle a little bit of sugar, which is us laughing at coons, to go with this white man shot his black neighbor and the cops didn't arrest him because they said they was afraid of the white man, which is a real story that we will be bringing up one day. It goes down a little bit smoother when one of the stories before or after it is Jason Whitlock says Angel Reese is terrible at basketball. It just helps. I'm sorry. When you read the story of the CEO trying to claim that this Marion Barry Knots had nothing to do with Marion Barry, all I could think of was that sound, the clip. Just call them niggas, and you can make the same point with nigga knots. Thank you for all the facts for the last episode. Well, thank you for giving me a reason to explain why we do some of the things we do at Fucking with Black People. Mm-hmm. I guess why I do, because I coordinate that segment. Mm-hmm. Shoe Booty says A&M Pizza is a crappy franchise of gentrified pizza. That was the other part. Pizza didn't look that good. Like, they had pizza in the background. I was like, Anyway, there would have been a way better way to honor a local legend than a tone-deaf mocking dessert, where it's less about the berry pun and more about the crack joke. They could have had some kind of berry-themed dessert, which, without being shitty about it, it's a Dracarys. Right. That didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a joke. You could just be like, we are honoring Marion Barry's legacy and contribution to this community. Come get a Marion Barry knot, like the Marion Barry knot. And it's like, oh, because something funny. No, it's not funny. It just has berries in it and it's delicious. And Marion Barry helped our community out a lot, and people around here respect them. Didn't even think about it, because our culture's a fucking joke to them. Anyway,
yeah.
Evie says, sound like Candace Owens cooned a little too close to the sun. Good, because fuck her. Comments on YouTube. We got 5 comments. Chinga Tumaga Facts says Big Tone. I don't know what Chinga. I think that's Spanish for like something bad to them.
I don't know.
But I don't speak that, and I don't want to assume.
Could not tell you.
Saida says Rod's crockpot rush to judgment analogies were delicious. One day soon reply, I enjoyed your show today, guys. Karen, you are too funny about the movies, but I feel the same way, and heaven forbid if they bust out the checkbook. Oh, I've never been in that situation. Woo. Somebody bust out a checkbook at the movie register
in 2024. I'm like, Lord have mercy, you ancient ass person.
Yeah.
As somebody who still owns checks, I'm still judging you.
Oh, we'll all turn into opiate then.
Won't we know? I will be like, checks? What is a check?
Jason says the good news is after that movie theater rant Karen went on, I don't think we have to worry about her being in any true crime documentaries anymore, at least not as the victim. That was a heel turn I was not expecting. That was one room she did not light up. However, I agree 100%. Yeah. I'm telling y'all, that's how she is underneath all this stuff. I just love to laugh.
I do too. I love to laugh.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say love to laugh. I said love the laugh. They love your laugh.
Oh, I love my laugh too.
Mm-hmm. Nunny Abiz says Karen's AMC banter was golden. Girl, we are all screaming tech support. Yep. Everybody can relate to it. That's
don't
facts.
make sense. It's stupid.
All right. Poll was Marion Barry knots. I'd buy some. I wouldn't buy any. Or I'd buy them if no one was around to see it. I'd buy some. 7.5% says they would buy some. I would not buy any. 92.5% says no, which that adds up to 100%, which means 0% said they buy some if no one was around to see it. Well, I have to be the one. If I knew no person would ever find out.
Well, monitor me. I might try them just to see.
If the security cameras was off that day.
that day, they had a malfunction.
It was right before close. The employees was like, we're going to throw these out anyway. You know, there's no reason to keep these.
No reason to hold on to. We'll make a fresh batch of crack tomorrow.
I was just ordering a slice of pizza, and they was like, you know what? We're going to throw in one of the Marion Barry knots for you. We're just going to put it in the box without you having to register and pay for it on your credit card. You good with that? I tried. Episode 3002, Typhoid, Maryland. We had 13 comments. Wow. Let's see what people saying. I'm imagining it's mostly about those potlucks. Appia says, we have other great things America can export from Germany: cars, healthcare, free education. The Nazi stuff isn't the stuff to export. I'm telling you. I agree.
Right? I 100% agree.
Oddly fitting to the baby stuff and other topics is, what is this? A War, Hitler, Anti-Semitic ? Titanic. I don't know what this link is. It's a classical cover of a German satire magazine that says, terrible suspicion, was Hitler anti-Semitic? Oh no. Oh, that is some good satire. And this is what it looked like for those looking, but yeah. But yeah, I feel like people treat Trump like that. Sean says, never had a company potluck, not something usually done in Japan, but I have made stuff for parties. Once I made a 7-pound 3-layer cheesecake with fresh fruit, filling between the layers and a hard chocolate coating. It was dense. Wisconsin cheesecakes go hard, but not like that fluffy NY stuff that they call cheesecakes. Okay, that's slander for no reason.
Right.
Both of those are good, by the way.
It's all in the same category.
So it was hard to eat more than a sliver because it was so filling. I took none of it home. But my go-to is guacamole. My guacamole is always fresh, always flavored. Got to be generous with the cumin, coriander, and chili, and always finished no matter how much I bring. I might tell people to grab some before it's gone, but I never have to push it. Guacamole is an interesting proposition because, see, when I think of potluck stuff, I typically think of people making stuff at home and then bringing it from home to the job. Mm-hmm. Guacamole, at least the kind that I make, the fresh kind that I make here. Shout out to Nicole, Nick Jew, who showed me how to do it, and I've been doing it ever since. Mm-hmm. That kind, it don't hold. Like, that's not some overnight shit. I'm sure there's a way to store it, but it's hard. Like,
you better eat it day of.
You gotta, like, guacamole gots to get gone. Don't nobody want no leftover guacamole. Not the fresh kind anyway. Maybe that, like, processed shit, people be like sitting eating on it for days. But if I get some guacamole that I made
it's
fresh, I'm eating it that day or it's going in the trash. So that's interesting. Justin says Byron Donalds is a first-generation immigrant. His mother's from Panama. His father's from Jamaica. Donalds has no real connection to Black America. And truth be told, with him being a first-generation immigrant, he probably hates Black Americans and thinks he is better than us, like some Black immigrants believe. I don't know how much of it has to do with him being an immigrant, but yeah, I think we have it on good authority. He hates Black Americans just from his policies and what he supports. Abia says, unfortunately for him, the Nazi he will meet on the street will not ask this question about his family tree. He will be seen as a non-white person. The end. That's that Negro wake-up call. Everybody be waiting on Republicans to get it. Host of No Flow says, on the potluck question, in the early 2000s, I had my first job that did potluck instead of just restaurants and catered food. I was one of a couple of blacks in the department. I signed up for the green bean casserole, a dish I had never actually had before because my family never made that. Because that was one of the last options available to sign up for, I learned how to make it out the back of a French onion can. Damn, French's onion can. I am a pretty decent cook, so it came out okay. The dish was a hit. Ate some of the co-workers' food, and later times working in a department with more melanated people, we developed a method for sharing with each other the food to steer clear of based on observance of the cook, such as which people didn't wash their hands in the bathroom and other general hygiene issues. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, schools started transitioning to allow purchase goods for classroom parties, and that worked its way more and more into the office. I'm old enough to have bobbed for apples at school carnivals, something that sounds super crazy to me now, something I never let my kids do. So my view on community grossness have evolved over the years. I ain't eating that rancid artichoke and orange dip. The other messed up thing, though, would be when the office had a commercial cake, but the server was one of the people that licked their fingers when cutting slices. Oh, it touched them to the plates. No thanks. I gave that up for Lent until next year. Oh, that's gross. Rona Raphael says, it was Byron Donalds that I had in mind during last week's coon joke. Take his black card and give it to Aquafina. I like her. Okay, give it to Sean King. Where he at? In Palestine? Where is Sean King? Mm-hmm. Second Rod's point about Puerto Ricans that have been fucking with the GOP until the MSG Nazi rally, it's a bit sus to me that it was the final straw. Mark Anthony ad for Madam VP was full of sins against the community by Orange, and yet I still knew Puerto Ricans who were talking that he just a businessman BS. Yeah, shout out to Nikki Jam. Anyway, I hope that anger translates into voting blue. I agree.
Who is a Nicky Jam?
He's a artist, a musician. He was in Bad Boys for Life. He's the worst part of that movie. And he was the dude that took his support of Trump back after the Puerto Rican joke that the dude made.
Yeah, for a lot of them, that's where they drew their line. It's like, oh, they ain't never really like y'all. Y'all just thought some of y'all thought y'all was super special. And then he hit on y'all too. And the nigga's like, yeah, he don't like us. What make you think he don't like you?
And his reasoning was some shit like, I just thought Trump was a good businessman to be good for the economy. Shoe Booty says being part of a small team at work means it's easier to vet who can bring what to the potluck. Honestly, we are so food motivated that could be on my manager's list of hiring questions at this point. What would you bring to the potluck? No one on my team makes a bad food, and for that I'm thankful. At our Halloween get together, everyone brought their lunch from wherever they wanted and brought in desserts and snacks to share. My bundt cake was a hit, and I cannot recommend this dish recipe enough. And she sent a link to how to make a chocolate bundt cake. Mature young lady says that in my last office job, I was a one-woman morale department. I would organize potlucks. My mom would cook on my behalf. We knew which coworker would not to ask to contribute. One coworker was known to be a cat lady, and we definitely avoided her shit. Tommy D says, my first year at the job, we had a potluck. My supervisor told me to get stuff before Gloria got there because she would talk all over the food. Ugh. But it was too late. Gloria was standing over the food. She was talking, and I could see tiny food and spit particles flying out her mouth onto the food. Oh. I looked at my supervisor and moved his lips with no sound coming out of his mouth to say, I told you. Oh, yeah. Donald didn't come out to Byron Donalds didn't come out to MOP, but John Cena's theme song that starts out with the anti-up sound. As a wrestling fan and unofficial Cena hater, I had to clear that up. Okay, thank you. Himdill says, Rod, it's reaffirming to hear someone discuss not wanting people to eat up their food they bring so it can be brought back home. But I have an 80% rule. Once the pot is 80% done time-wise, I remove what's left of my food and clean the space to make room for other nasty food people ain't eating. Because I hate carrying empty real dishes, anything that ain't plastic home. I'm not sure I understand. I have an 80% rule. Once the pot is 80% done time. Oh, potluck. Oh, okay. Auto-corrected from potluck to pot much. Okay. Once the potluck is 80% done time-wise, I remove what's left of my food and clean the space to make room for other. Yeah, I can see that. That's not a bad rule, I guess. I personally, I leave it there until they tell us come get our dishes. If anything is left, I'm happy because whatever I made, I want to eat. It's just very rare that my shit has anything left. But if something is left, I'm like, cool, more for me. EVE says, when I used to work in corporate where there was a potluck, I would only eat my food and one or two of the black people who I knew were clean. I made the mistake of eating this one white lady's deviled egg because she was nice and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I should have known something was odd because there was no paprika on it. Dog. EVE.
No paprika is a sign. I don't care what nobody says.
Dead giveaway. No paprika on it. I won't fuck with it. I never had a good one with no paprika on it.
Ain't for real. Never had
I don't know, because I don't even think paprika tastes like nothing.
It don't. It's bland.
It really don't taste like nothing. It's just a visual sign like, oh, they put their foot in this.
Paprika like food color, a little bit of red.
Yeah. But it mean they put some other shit in there that go with the paprika or something. When I bit into it, it only tasted like yolk and mayo. No salt, pepper, relish, mustard, nothing. It was disgusting. I learned my lesson after that. I heard that dish that got people sick was a Filipino dish called pancit, which is a rice noodle dish that has vegetables and various meats, sometimes seafood. It's so delicious, but according to my friend who used to make it for me all the time, it's a dish usually made for big parties the day of because it spoils quickly, and apparently this person made it a couple of days before the potluck, which is why everyone got sick. So maybe it wasn't an accident. It depends on if they ate some too. If they got sick too, it was an accident. If they was over in the corner watching y'all get sick, they tried to kill y'all. Nate, your boy, says, I guess I was lucky when it came to potlucks. I used to work for a chemical company that had international chemists on the roster. When we had potlucks, we had Vietnamese, Filipino, Louisiana white, West African, Indian, North and South style, and Southern Texas redneck racist ass granny recipes passed down to their more progressive grandchildren. See Paula Dean and her use of butter. All captured. Needless to say, there were certain dishes that we would skip, but there were no casualties in 12 years. We practiced safety and kept clean lab benches, so I guess the practices followed them into the kitchen. That makes sense. That is lucky. I can see that working out. Like, there's scientists that are lab trained,
right?
So they probably know not to have fucking cats on their counter.
Right? They understand cross contamination and shit because what they do.
Which would make a lot of sense. All right, let's get to the YouTube comments. Baby Toshiro says, I would be embarrassed if I was a person in the community attending a Nazi rally, and they should be embarrassed. See, Nathan says it has to be a mental illness. Janine says, long time, first time in a long time, and then I 100% would eat what I cooked. And the way my coworkers would be big mad, because I would go to Ryan Gosling and Crazy Stupid Love when Steve Carell opened that Velcro wallet. Elise says, yes, they do. At 424 mark. I'm not sure what the 424 mark is.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, either way, I mean, I guess you don't have to directly be the person that would go to jail, but the way these laws are, you don't know what. Oh, she's talking about the OBGYNs that do they do abortions or not, and she says yes, they do.
Okay.
And like I said, we had people that wrote in and said theirs do. That we've had people wrote in and said theirs doesn't. I didn't know.
It might vary.
So thank you for the answer. I guess they can do them.
Yes.
Nunny Biz says, wait, Rod, images of Byron Donalds playing the spoons to the Dixie song gave me tears. Earth truly is a ghetto. Nathaniel says, stop it. I'm dying over here. Potluck madness. Red flags. Nunya Biz says, tis the season, had to revisit episode 1348 for the potluck shenanigans. Yeah.
That's 1348.
So obviously it's an episode of our podcast.
I said I meant title, my bad.
Yeah, I'm about to look it up right now. I don't know off the top of my head.
Me
so
either.
It's called Office Potluck. It's from 2016, where we discussed Office Potlucks. And that was a very fun episode. I remember that. And yeah, we got a lot of comments back then. It was like the first time I brought it up on the show. And turns out, pretty popular sentiment. Apparently, a lot of black people are thinking about this shit.
And it ain't changed in almost 10 years. 2 more years, 10 years.
Yeah, I'm surprised people still have such strong feelings after people been working from home. And a lot of people can avoid it now. Not that everyone can, but a lot of people can. Let's see. Rebecca M says, I was so pissed off Sunday when watching my Ravens game. There was a long-ass pro-Trump commercial. Yeah. She also says, speaking of seafood in Maryland, the son of the owner of popular Angie Seafood just murdered his girlfriend here in Baltimore.
Damn.
Well, that's random as shit. Rebecca's like, hey, you know what else is happening over here? Speaking of seafood, what?
We must have said something about seafood on the show.
I know we talked about the seafood in the potluck, but
okay,
that's still random.
Wow, we on the subject of seafood.
Did you know somebody murdered somebody that worked at a restaurant?
That's hilarious.
Rebecca, that's random.
Speaking of seafood,
she just wanted us to talk about it.
Yes.
I don't know nothing about this food or this person, but that is pretty hilarious. Speaking of seafood, you could do that with anything on the show. Speaking of basketball, did y'all know that I was playing basketball with this dude and he said, like, no, how would we know? Anyway, Rebecca Cam says, oh my God, laugh my ass off. Is he holding a motherfucking cig while pouring the gas? Yep, definitely a racist POS. Another great episode. Yeah, I submitted that clip too. Maybe we'll see if that comes out. Jinxful says, laugh my ass off. I saw the news report about the sword in the fire and thought about y'all. Don't know if that was a good thing or not. Who knows? Thomas says, these fucking Christian nationalists don't care so long as their agenda is pushed down the rest of our throats. Trump is the Trojan horse for the Christian bullshit. Agreed. Driving behind a car the other day, I saw a bumper sticker that said Catholics for Trump. I said, what? I should have rear-ended them. And it'd been like, look, God works in mysterious ways. I'm trying to kill you to keep you. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Oh, no.
One day. Oh, I'm just joking, guys. Don't do that. I'm just trying to stop the Antichrist. It's Trump. One Day Soon says, thanks for talking about mammograms, Karen. Remember, ladies, know the density of your breast. Ask your doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that matters, Like you said, and it's one of the things where you kind of learn as you go because prior to mammogram, I didn't know what the fuck the density of the breast mean. It is some kind of technical term for it. And I was like, the fuck is this? Then I had to go look it up. There's like, oh, it just means dense breast. That's all you had to say.
Riz says some of these people won't get it until they are in chains with no rights, being shipped to the fields, being held in cages until they get deported to countries they never lived in, or have someone break down their door, taking their home because they are no longer considered an American citizen.
Right.
Germans during the rise of Hitler is an example that no one should want to follow. An old boy is a bitch. If you had the nerve to hop on camera with that hat and then stand on business. Yeah, Nick Bosa. Alexandra says, my mom's favorite doctor retired to teaching this year. She said it was stressful and the patients are becoming more hostile. That's interesting too, because I think that's something we don't talk about a lot, but that goes, since the pandemic, that goes up and down every scale of people facing positions in businesses, anything dealing with the public. People have been reporting back that there's been a lot of hostility coming from patrons that wasn't there before the pandemic.
And you know what you said makes sense, because I realize a lot of doctor offices I go in now, they have signs when you go in. They have signs throughout the hallway: do not harass, do not yell, do not hit. Like they'll tell you, we'll call the police on you, we'll have you arrested. They was like people that just try and do their job. Like, God damn, the people coming back here and just showing their asses in the doctor's office.
Right. She'd rather deal with papers than patients and the climate. My OBGYN also retired, and I only found out when I went to schedule my annual, like, ma'am, you've been looking at my intimate parts for like years. I hate finding new doctors to create a new dynamic. I saw on sorry, it's such a stupid random fucking thing I just thought, but I wonder if it would be helpful if on the description for these OBGYNs, if they had some level of like detail or customer feedback about how they specifically like treat people's private parts. Like, I know that sounds like some really childish shit, but at its essence, that is kind of what would help.
Yeah, the job requires. Yes,
it's the thing that they can't say, because it would look weird and creepy and probably gross, especially if it's like a man or some shit like that. Like there's like there's a sexual element to it that would just make it too creepy. But it probably would be helpful if it was like, warmed forceps, or you know what? Hey, I'm a man, but a nurse will always be in the room with us.
Yes, and I know you're joking, but that shit matters. Like, if there's somebody going, oh, I will always make sure to warm up the I don't know if you call them stirrups or whatever, the thing they
exactly.
insert. Because, not trying to be funny, there's nothing worse than them being cold. And they've came a long way, because now they use plastic, sometimes. And before, everything was fucking metal. It would be cold. And some of them, even if they use metal, they'll warm them up ahead of time. They'll let you know, like they're very, very gentle. I know,
it sounds immature.
No,
but I know that at its core, that's what would ease my mind. I think of what would ease my mind when I go through situations like that. And it's just stuff you can't do. It's stuff you can't really, like, if I'm looking for a new dentist, hey, TV's on the ceiling. That might actually be a positive, but they can't put that on the fucking, like, hey guys, TV's on the ceiling.
Yeah, because with most doctors, they might, but they don't. I don't know a place. I'm pretty sure there is, y'all, that you can like write reviews where you can tell, like, okay, I've been.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something, but like, even with a review, people aren't gonna put that.
That's true. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
they're not gonna be like, Dr. Yolanda Jones has very warm, tiny hands, and that's why she's been my OBGYN for 15 years. Like, they can't say that.
She knows how to treat my insides.
Right. But wouldn't we all like to know? We'd all like to fucking know.
Yes, very, very gentle.
The last thing I want to find out as it's happening to me is like, oh, this guy's going to check my prostate and he got Victor Wembanyama hands. Like, I don't want to find that out when I get there. I want someone to have told me so I can know what to prepare for. I could be like, nah, that's not for me. I don't have
Agreed.
I don't need this nigga Scottie Pippen in my butthole or whatever. I saw online someone said people truly don't care unless it directly impacts them. The comedian's racist joke directly impacted one group, but the entire Trump presidency was awful towards everyone but rich white men. How is this election even close? Trump has always been a racist, sexist, bigoted person forever.
Yes!
There should be no more surprise outrage against him. Everyone should make it to their mission to never have him or anyone against freedom step foot in Pennsylvania Ave. I'm sick of this shit. That potluck poison sounds like attempted murder. LOL. I don't know what the police say. I will be looking for another job. Oh, I don't care what they say. Yep, I agree.
Yep, I'm like, oh no, anybody else trying to kill me here? I'm out.
The poll: have you ever cooked food for a company potluck?
I have, and I think once or twice I cooked for Roger. I think I make like macaroni and cheese, something like that. And every time I would cook it,
It was a hit.
Roger would be like, I ain't got nothing to bring back. It would be gone. They would be like, every time they would have one, they would be like, tell your wife to cook some more macaroni and cheese.
57% have, 43% have not. But yeah, that makes sense. All right, last episode of the week. 3003 loud working. We got 8 comments. This is our episode. We had my man Zach from the Corporate Podcast on. Talked a lot about work stuff. Brooklyn Shoebase says, hey Rod and Karen, great episode. FYI, Payless is a supermarket in Indiana. Oh, so it's not a shoe store there. Okay.
I didn't know. I've only known it as the shoe store. That's why I was confused. I was like, what?
My ex-husband is from Indiana and I've shopped there. They have free samples. Cookies are fire. Okay, well, you solved the mystery.
Thank you, baby, because that makes sense. I was like, how you giving free samples at the shoe store?
Yeah, he threw me off. Ronan Raphael says that's a cheap ass baby. I died when Karen said that. That baby story was too much. By the way, shout out to your Halloween designs. They're sexy, cool. As a universal time traveling lord, I respect the sweet design. Back to my costume. Shoe Booty says, this episode is just what I needed today. Was having a loud work moment even though I work from home, where I made sure I was sending out my little team messages. Don't try to catch me after 2 today. I put in my time. See, you know game. You know ball, Shoe Booty. My team here is great and there's no quiet quitting necessary when you got a good boss and they really emphasize work-life balance. Put in your 8 hours, do a good job. Don't be bothered the other 16 hours of the day. She also said, Lucy, a campground adoption story for that story with the people. Sean says, I think there was a huge difference in the way businesses were run before Jack Welch. Of course, Welch was part of an overall movement where businesses were no longer chartered for actual to contribute to society, but rather to increase shareholder value. Thanks Friedman for that dumb idea. This shift from employees as a means of optimizing business to employees as a means of optimizing profits has led to the toxic corporate culture that Gen X and younger people grew up in. And things have gotten worse since the push for right to work longer hours for less money and be fired at the whim of your boss laws, aka right to work. Not submitting to be victim of wage theft. 68% of low-wage workers in America have been victims of wage theft, and wage theft accounts for more than half of all theft in the U.S. AKA quiet quitting is not grounds for dismissal. For dismissal in reasonable states. In fact, firing people for not being willing to be victims of crime is illegal in states with reasonable labor laws. Unfortunately, right-to-work laws harm so many people in the U.S. Do you think we'll ever get back to pre-Welch, pre-Friedman world where business were meant to do something and the profit motive was secondary? I just appreciate your faith in me and Karen, because I don't know who the fuck Jack Welch is or Friedman is.
Child, I was about to say, who?
And that never came up on the podcast. So this like you just wrote some like PhD stuff in and we was on like business 101. So
Child, yeah, we intro.
I'm sure that
we on level 100.
I'll tell you what I am sure of without even knowing, just from context clues. That was a very smart thing you wrote.
You smart.
We already know you smart, many times too smart. You write in, I'll be like, I don't know what the fuck Sean talking about, but I appreciate you have so much faith in me that you thought I would know what you was talking about. You're a real one, Sean. Appreciate you.
Shout out for educating the audience and us.
And if you're asking, will we ever go back to a time where it wasn't like it is now? No. I'd love to be optimistic, but no. Even and I don't. This is not disparaging her anyway, but this is like one of the things I was telling my friend. He was like, this Kamala Harris campaign is a little bit worrying for me because some of the biggest donors and people that she's looking at for cabinet seats are people that are huge, like Wall Street, corporate interest type people. And I said, yeah, the alternative is Trump. that's not her fault. That's not a thing. She can't win without those people.
Right.
Who made it that way? Citizens United, which is not her fault.
Yes, they did.
Who made it that way? So what? She's supposed to lose by saying, I reject any level of like corporate influence over my campaign and over my platform and over my administration. I reject all of it. I don't need to work with y'all. Y'all need to bow down to me. And then when she loses, and we all call her a loser for losing, and say what a stupid decision she made, they went and contributed all their money to Trump and Republicans, and that's why the fuck Trump and the Republicans have sole reign over the economy. We would all call her stupid. We would all say her campaign was badly managed.
Yes.
We'd all say she really shit the bed and fucked America over. And I would say the reason that this really has to be made into this binary decision is because we Americans don't stop these things.
No, we do not.
We haven't done enough with our own votes and our voices to say we want corporations to be handled in a different way. We want businesses to be reined in. We want capitalism to have better guardrails.
Right. They're not people.
When we decide that we're not going to do that with our votes because we can sit something out, or we could be a one issue voter, or we don't care about this, we only care about that. That's what the fuck happens. And the politicians have to navigate by the rules that we set as voters.
Right.
And so we told them, hey man, we don't actually give a fuck about this economy shit. We say we do, but really what we mean is I don't want to pay this much for gas. And that's not enough.
I want my taxes to go up. Like it's very, very simple.
Yeah. And many times it's not even that.
Right.
Many times people say, I don't want my taxes to go up, but then they vote for Trump and their taxes go up and they go, I'm going to vote for Trump again. So what are we really talking about? What are the real issues of America? If capitalism wasn't in America, wasn't so racialized, it's probably this way in most places, but if it wasn't so racialized, we would have a fighting shot. But the racism did us in as a country. Mm-hmm. So you got people that should know better and be like, I'm not supporting this racist motherfucker because even they're lying even about their tax policy. Mm-hmm. Instead, they go, if they're being honest about the racism, I'll let them lie to me about the tax policy.
Yes, sir.
And that's why we're fucked.
Because I'm here for the racism.
Come on, I'm here for the racism too, Karen. I love racism.
I don't.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to agree with you. I'm sorry.
No, but I did. They out here for the racism.
Oh, they ain't here for the. Yes.
Not me personally.
I get it now. I get it. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not here for the. I hate racism.
Oh, do you really though?
It's the worst.
Oh, okay.
I don't play with no racism.
If you
around
say
here.
so.
Some of y'all be messing with that racism and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. You be tootsieing with the racism?
Not me. Why? Who would play with racism in America, Karen?
I don't know.
Oh, what? How did that play? Stop. Evie says, this episode reminded me that I do not miss working in the corporate office. These people truly do not care about you. When I was on maternity leave, I got a call from my boss asking me to come back early because they were short staffed. Yes, I repeat, I was on maternity leave. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that you had to stop working at Arby's. I see. Because you know they don't give a fuck. They're like, you come in here and mix this cocaine.
Child, if I'm on maternity leave, kiss my ass. I'm not coming back in.
Well, they got the meats. At that point, I was making as much as my side hustle as I was at my job. So when I got the call from my boss, I was so pissed. So I did go back to the office to cut my maternity leave short. And on my first day back, I handed in my 2 weeks notice, even though I planned on working there for at least one more year. And for the next 2 weeks, I didn't do shit because what were they going to do? Fire me? So I guess they were still short when I left. Mm-hmm.
You better than me because I wouldn't have went in.
But that explains why the lines at Arby's be so long. Y'all in there on maternity leave putting in 2 weeks notice and it'll take me 30 minutes to get my food. That's right, Evie. I know you work there. That's what this really been about the whole time. It's starting to make sense while you covering up for him. Apia says, my work situation can be described as one or the other. The work can't be done on a 9-to-5 schedule because medical conventions and congresses don't work that way, or the traveling. My job is more of a lifestyle, I guess, but a well-paid one. No one cares how long I work or as long as the work gets done. When I work on a weekend, I can decide if I want money for it or a free day. I have lots of freedom, but also tons of responsibility. Overall is good, but you need to be extremely organized. The main office is 3 hours away, so I'm only there about 4 times a year for important meetings. And that was because our poll was, are you more of a quiet quitter, a loud worker, or neither? That was a thing. We'll get to the results in a second, but let's get to these YouTube comments real quick. Damn, says Jason Jasper. I really wanted Kamala on Rogan interview. It sounded crazy, but for that hour, I really would have flipped him. Really think she would have flipped him. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons he's afraid.
I do
I'm
too.
dead serious.
Because she came in really, really reasonable.
As a dude that just... The boogeyman of Kamala Harris is more powerful for Joe Rogan and his listeners than Kamala Harris is. The reality of her is not scary and
at
would
all.
not like.
She'd come in warm, nice, friendly. Yeah, it'd have been completely different.
And him talking to JD Vance to me was more damaging to JD Vance and Trump than talking to Kamala would have been. But whatever, I don't give a fuck about him and his folks like that. But I still think it was whack his reasoning for not going to do the show with her.
Right.
One thing I've learned over these past couple of months is that her charm is way underrated and she owns rooms. Trump looks so weak in those one-on-one interviews. He's all orange and hunched over. If he didn't move the damn hand so much, he just looked like furniture. Meanwhile, super small Kamala sits back, legs crossed like Phil Jackson, and runs a triangle on all those white men. Lil Rogan wouldn't have made it. I agree. The Nikki Haley story about her not getting called by Trump is perfect. The one good thing Trump did was strip every single remaining Republican of any respect ever amongst their own base. No one sees Nikki, Tim Scott, Ted Cruz, or any of these clowns as leaders anymore. That's one of the main issues with the party that I'll never be able to understand. If Trump does not win, what y'all have thrown your future aspirations in the trash,
whole party away
because he has demeaned you so much you can't be a leader.
Nope.
Mike Pence presidential run did not even get off the ground.
Nope. Not the second time.
In 2016 he thought vice president was a test run to be president one day.
He did.
Instead he's a fucking joke.
Yes he is.
He's a fucking joke that won't even stand up for himself against Trump. It's crazy. Like, Nikki Haley's a fucking joke now.
Yes, she is.
She meant something to people.
Down here in South Carolina, yes.
Not to me, but to respectable people who are serious about voting, serious about plans for the economy in America. They now go, nah, she's a fucking joke. That's crazy. Y'all did that for this man. Meanwhile, say what you want about Joey B, but he's leaving the damn party looking like the OKC Thunder, nothing but emerging talent. So many people were elevated in his term. Exactly. I wouldn't trade the Democrats roster for the Republican roster right now. And I'm not saying that because of politics. I'm literally saying if you just height, age, weight,
looking at stats and statistics,
popularity, you know what I mean?
You know, we up here with double doubles, triple doubles, breaking league records.
A lot of stars of right wing spears aren't even politicians now.
No,
that's how fucked up it is. That's how fucked up it is for Republicans. Like AOC is the kind of person that could have just been a left wing podcaster and would have been very famous and popular anyway.
Yes,
but she's within the big tent of the Democrats. That matters. Even if you don't like some of the people in the squad, it matters that they are in the tent and they're popular with constituencies that you want to bring into the fold. They're not just sniping at the Democrats from, YouTube. It matters. But Republicans can't really say that. CPJ Morgan says the embeddedness of the anti-blackness and philanthropy is breathtaking as well. DEI stuff is written down and then we straight don't abide by it. It's living gaslighting. Agreed. And JV City says at the 41:35 second mark, it's me every day. Rod is right. Let me see what this is. 41:35. What did I say? Is it quite loud? Talk. Let me see. 5, whatever. Come in loud as hell. Oh. Loud working. It's loud working. There we go. Yep. Let's do it. Loud working. All right, y'all. The poll. Are you more of a quiet quitter or a loud worker? Quiet quitter, 41%. Loud worker, 29%, and neither 29%. So there you go. I feel like I'm more of a loud worker. Just so I want to get out of there and feel like I don't have any pressure on me. But that's just because I've been telling y'all I'm leaving the whole time.
I guess I do neither, because not really quiet quitting, because I just these are my hours and I'm out. You know what I'm type of thing. Particularly when I went into the office, I was like a ninja. I was one of the first people in there. And when it was time to go, if you blink too hard, because where I was at was right at the corner. I would hit that corner and hit that door. The door was like less than 20 feet. I'd be out that door and gone. So for me, it was just like,
Well, that's more of a quiet quitter, I guess.
Okay, well then I follow that category.
All right, let's get into the voicemails. And now I can use this opportunity to get up and get my phone. Okay. So here you go. Longer break than normal because I didn't know where my phone was. All right. Voicemails. We only got one caller this week.
Okay.
And I don't know this person, so we'll find out together.
Hey, Ron and Karen. This your boy, Nature Boy. Oh. First time calling in, but I just had to tell you about my voting experience, early voting experience. I live in Fort Bend County, which is the county of basically the suburbs and a portion of Houston. And next to us is Harris County, which is the main county that Houston lies in. Anyway, I'm in line at the polling place for early voting, and there's a Vietnamese gentleman and a white lady, and they get to talking pretty loudly about how the Democrats stole the election and how the machines now are fixing the way that they can't manipulate it, blah, 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 blah. Whole bunch of nonsense. Anyway, the guy keeps mentioning that he is not properly able to vote, I guess, here in Fort Bend County. He was sent from Harris County to Fort Bend, even though he lives in Harris County. So what ends up happening is somebody overhears him, one of the polling ladies. She comes over to him, takes him to the front of the line, has him fill out some kind of form. Well, actually, sorry, before she gets to the form, she asks if he's registered to vote. The man says, registered? No, I never did that. So then she checks his ID. Is this your current address? No, that's not my current address. The lady gives him a form to fill out saying that your vote will count today. So I'm telling everybody this just so you know. Get out there and vote so that you can counteract one of these nonsense votes somebody's going to get to pass. I mean, me and all the other black people in line kind of looked at each other like, can you believe this shit? But, hey, it's happening. Get out there, vote. Make sure you can counteract that. Rob, proud of you, man. You eating right and getting in that gym, putting in that work. Keep it up. Take care.
Thank you, Nature Boy.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's funny though, because the other way to take that story is if you're home and you're making excuses for voting, like where you're saying to yourself, like, man, I don't know if I got my registration right. I don't know if I got my paperwork. Did I do the thing? The job of the poll people, no matter what side they're on, the job is to help you be able to vote.
Yeah, that's their job.
And they don't actually give a fuck what your politics are. Long as you're not violating the law, like showing up with propaganda on and shit, they're not supposed to let you be in there with that. But if you show up and you're like, man, I'm scared, license might be a thing, show up. They'll walk you through it. Provisional ballots, a bunch of stuff to make sure your vote is counted. It can be intimidating. I still remember my first time voting being like, I think I was 18 or around there and was like, is this going to work? Is this going to work the way they say it's going to work? Am I going to get up there and they're going to say, excuse me, but actually no. You know, like I didn't know, but it can be intimidating, but it's not as intimidating as you think. You know, ironically, to relate it to the thing he ended on, it's kind of like how I was with the gym. I was so nervous about going to the gym, working out, what was going to happen, were people going to be looking at my body, judging me, were people going to say negative things to me, was I going to look stupid, messing with machines and weights and not knowing what I was doing, were people going to videotape me, put me on social media like we see all the time these days. I had so many anxious concerns, and it stopped me from the positive aspects of it, and it honestly was a fucking lie. In my brain was lying. People are very positive. They're very supportive. They want to help. If anything, they mostly just mind their business. They in their own world. They got their own shit going. People aren't going to the gym sick because motherfuckers are in there mostly health nuts, and they don't want to be around nobody coughing. They're gonna flip the fuck out.
Yes, they will. They're like, don't make me sick.
So like the things I thought was gonna happen in that gym weren't true. It's like when people take a Zumba class and you're like, oh, should I stop? I mean, it's the pandemic. I shouldn't take a Zumba class. The people at the Zumba aren't going to show up to be coughing and dying for an hour.
You're moving around too much.
The average person is, if they feel sick, they're like, let me stay the fuck home from the gym. I definitely know what I don't want to do with COVID. Do Zumba in a room full of people coughing and looking at me like I'm crazy. So, but my brain went to an anxious place, and I think that can happen with voting. It can feel intimidating if you haven't done it before. And I don't care what your age is. They will. I'm telling you, they're so helpful. No situation they haven't seen before. Go in there and they'll walk you through it. It'll be fine. So there you go. All right, we got emails. Let's get to these emails real quick. This is just a note to Raquel. I emailed you as well. She emailed us last week where she said that she lives in Columbia, South Carolina, and when she get her money right, she's gonna become premium and all that stuff. We have a listener who has 2 premium subscriptions, which I think she did by mistake. Which, for the record, if y'all have 2 subscriptions going and you don't want that, you're not trying to do that, like, email me, go to your PayPal, cancel one of them. I'll refund you. The goal is we're not here trying to be like, we need to get as much money. We trying to, because we can't control PayPal. We don't actually know if someone has a duplicate subscription. Sometimes PayPal will email people and be like, your shit's going to get canceled because the money isn't coming through or something. And I think people sign up again by mistake to be like, oh, well, I don't want to da-da-da. I don't get any notification of like, this is their second account. So I would not know.
Right.
So double check your PayPal. Make sure y'all not getting double billed. The goal is not to rip anyone off. We appreciate the people that are like, I'm just doing it to help y'all out. Because if I find someone has a duplicate account, I'll email them and be like, hey, it says you have duplicate thing. What's up? And then these people are so nice, but they'll be like, oh, it's fine. I don't want the money back. I'm just like, okay, Richie Rich. But I'm like, thank you. But at the same time,
the purpose is
you
not
just need
for
one.
us to get over
if
on
that's
people,
all you want, is one. That being said, Raquel, if you're listening, this listener was like, don't cancel my second subscription. Give it to Raquel. And I email Raquel, email me back. Email me back. Let me know, because hey, I would take the free premium if I was you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you need to get behind this paywall, girl. It's fun over here.
It's fun over here. We thought we couldn't make it. Fucked around and was like, and sent out an email going, hey, y'all, Balls Deep gonna be late. I was sleepy. That's why I didn't make it. I was 9 o'clock. I was like, that's
It was an old school me and Justin episode this week. And it was very fun. Y'all should check it out. It was some pretty good conversation. I thought about putting it on the main feed just so y'all can get a sample of what we be talking about, but I don't know. It's too funny for y'all. Y'all couldn't handle it. Need to pay money to be able to handle this. This is from Angela Fobbs. Adrian and her come on our show because they promote Democrats abroad. And this year we really she emailed me like a week or two ago, 11 days ago, but the notice is so short and our schedule is fucking crazy with not just guests, Hornets games, a bunch of stuff. We couldn't make it work, but I was like, tell me what you would want us to tell people.
Right.
And her schedule's crazy too, because right now they're going around promoting voting to everybody.
Yes.
So if you live abroad, here's the message. Americans abroad, there's still time to request your ballot and vote. Request your absentee ballot today at votefromabroad.org and vote. Ask for your ballot to be sent by email. Then please send it back electronically or by courier to ensure it arrives on time. If you need help getting a ballot, sending it back, or have questions, they'll help via email. Or you can go to one of the daily Zoom help sessions. You can find everything you need to vote at votefromabroad.org. You can use the Blue Voter Guide if you need help figuring out who to vote for. Blue Voter Guide helps you make quick, informed, pro-democracy choices of candidates and propositions by showing you what's on your ballot with endorsements from trusted, forward-looking organizations. You can use it whether you vote from abroad, at home, or you're playing or your local polling station. That's bluevoterguide.org. Remember to remind your family and friends to vote. Angela. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela. And we do have people that listen from abroad that are American citizens. Stay up on that, because guess what? What happens here impacts you abroad, because if they fuck around and change the laws here, this could fuck around and change where you live.
I'm going to say it one more time because I know someone's going to write in after the election like, what was the link? Votefromabroad.org. And the guide is bluevoterguide.org. All right. Oh no, not Janine. Rod and Karen as a Janine. LOL at Simply G Inc. It saddens me that you would use my name in your scenario. I laughed off the insult, but just wanted to say howdy, your sister in Toronto. Thank you, Janine. And honestly, you'll spell your Janine with a G and an I. The Janine I was talking about is a J and a Y, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
You a different Janine.
Yeah, and if another Janine writes in, I'm gonna lie and say it was the one. Actually, the Janine I'm talking about is spelled with a Q and a K, and one of those upside down looking A's. So
you good.
If your name ain't spelled like that, don't write in.
They got one of them squiggly marks on top of the letters.
Yeah, it got squiggly marks and shit. Trey says, hey Rod and Karen, just wanted to thank you all for keeping me and the rest of the listening audience sane during the 2024 election. I'm going to still be nervous and anxious leading up to Tuesday, but if what I have seen on social media about Kamala's ground game as it relates to her campaign, I think she will do good on Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think we're gonna know shit on Tuesday. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to end Tuesday and be like, Kamala won in a landslide.
I hope
but
so.
I think even in that case, in that scenario, Trump ain't fitting to concede shit. He gonna say it's stolen. Republicans will fight on that lie. It's gonna be legal battles in every state that, especially the swing states and the ground. Like, I don't think this shit is, I think part 3 of the Infinity Saga of the vote is going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah, and also, this is just my theory. I think that he knows he's going to lose, and I think he's prepared to lose, and so that's why the past week or two, he's been threatening lawsuits, he's been threatening everything's fucked up, he's been threatening everybody's against him. Like, he's already prepared and sowed the seeds for the discord. Like, he's just prepared for that, and he's basically, I'm gonna drag this on until somebody says I have to fucking stop.
Yeah. I'm starting to see early voting trending in the way I hoped it would, with a ton of female voters showing up and showing out. Hopefully we can keep this momentum all the way up to Tuesday. Thanks again, Rod and Karen. Yeah, they scared over there too. They real scared about, especially that women vote turnout being higher than men so far. They're absolutely shaking in their boots, because women, whether they white, black, indifferent, are like, I don't want the government telling me what to do with my body. And these white men are writing, doing podcasts and shit like, what's gonna happen if the women is secretly voting against the men? Like, okay. Last one's from Donald. Mercrimmit family, shit. I hope I get this in on time. Listen, I love the show truly and deeply, and I got receipts to prove it. You guys deserve all the praise you get and then some. However, I feel there's an aspect of y'all show that's not gotten its just due. Audio quality. Man, listen, I've been rocking with y'all for a long ass time. Y'all basically my introduction to podcasts. So when I tell y'all I can't even count the amount of podcasts I turned my nose up at, have up on and never gave up on and have never come back because their audio was shit. Hey, I know some of them are good because y'all introduced them. I probably powered through an episode or two playing through a fucking megaphone, but that ain't worth the hassle. I always say y'all had the best podcast for obvious reasons: consistency, integrity, humor, empathy, etc. But goddamn, I leave a stone unturned, and audio quality should not be overlooked. Not on my watch. Y'all take care. I'll try to stop procrastinating right into my favorite show piece. Thanks, Donald.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, audio quality is important. It kills me that like these shows with me and Karen are so easy because there's like a setting now that makes it very easy for y'all to hear all the sound effects and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it kills me that when we have a guest, I can't use that setting or the guest gets a huge echo. Mm-hmm. And the podcast listeners in the chat get a huge echo. And so in those instances, the audio for the music and the clips sometimes doesn't sound clear on the YouTube, but it always sounds clear in audio format on podcast apps.
Yeah, on the podcast
which
apps.
is why I'm gonna continue to just have to do it that way. I'm sorry for the YouTube people, but you know that's the secondary market at best for us. We're still an audio podcast first and foremost. But yeah, man, thank y'all everybody. That's it for this episode. We appreciate you. We'll be back throughout the week. Once again, our schedule is crazy busy with these Hornets games and shit. Going tonight. I think we got one Wednesday. We got one Friday.
Had one last night. Had a good time at the game.
Yeah, Karen with my mom last night. So yeah, we'll fit in some shows where we can. And yeah, talk to you soon. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye everybody. Good night. Good